guys with me, I'll eat your f***ing eyes out of your head. And they're as loyal as a mother. And they got balls the size of cows. I would take them tomorrow and tell them, come on, load up, we're gonna blow this whole joint. They'll walk in and blast everybody. With no hesitation, no nothing, and don't look for nothing besides.
Have you a father and mother? I respectfully decline to answer, because I honestly believe my answer might tend to incriminate.
The Mafia are well known for brutal contracted hits that span right back to the early parts of the 20th century. During the Prohibition era of the Roaring '20s, we saw more mob-related killings than any other period in Mafia history, and it came down to one thing: the bootlegging of alcohol. Among the ropes, knives, and the deadly Garrett wire, the mobsters preferred a weapon of choice, which was a firearm. In this documentary, we wanted to explore the top 5 guns that were used during the 1920s all the way up through the 1950s. So reload your coffee mugs, recline your chair, and let us fire you back in time to a period when mob hits were the talk of the town. Up first, we look at the Thompson 1928 submachine gun, which was perhaps the most famous weapon of Prohibition America. Also known as the Tommy gun, this firearm has been responsible for many deaths, some of which include the St. Valentine's Day Massacre of 1929. The gun could fire off 850 plus rounds per minute and reach up to 160 feet in range. Tommy guns were produced from 1921 after being designed in 1919 by John T. Thompson. The gun supported a 50-round drum magazine with .45 ACP cartridges and weighed just under 11 pounds, which makes this the heaviest gun in our top 5 list. In 1935, during the Depression, a new gun hit the market. A gun that was the first of its kind for a .357 revolver. It was an expensive shooter that was offered to law enforcement of the time as it was extremely powerful and deadly accurate. No surprise that mobsters cottoned onto this and used it during the late part of the 1930s. With a 6-round cylinder, a shooting range of up to 150 feet, and a weight of just under 2 pounds, this was the gun of choice for many mobsters. The Colt was around just before the Tommy gun and was produced from 1911 onward. The Colt was slightly heavier than the Smith & Wesson, weighing in at 2.5 pounds, and was a single-action semi-automatic handgun that held a .45 ACP cartridge and rarely jammed or misfired for its owner. The Colt was a reliable choice of weapon that had a longer shooting range than the Smith & Wesson, doubling in distance at 328 feet. The feed system was a 7-round standard detachable box magazine, which many mobsters of course preferred. In at 4th on the list is a pump-action shotgun, which was commonly used by law enforcement in the 1950s and quickly became another weapon in the arsenal of mobsters during that era. This 12-gauge, 7-pound monster packed some punch, and when you think a shotgun could reach a target of 150 feet away, this made a Remington a lethal, powerful weapon. The only issue was that it was too big and too slow to fire. And last but not least, the final weapon on our list isn't a gun or knife, but can be just as effective if used correctly. What we're referring to is an improvised explosive that was used on a considerable number of times during the 1920s through even to present-day times. A Molotov cocktail was made using a glass bottle filled with petrol or napalm. After filling the bottle, a mobster would then use some material to stuff into the top of the bottle, such as a cloth or sock, to act both as a stopper and a wick. Usually mobsters would make these by the caseload. The cloth or sock would then be soaked in alcohol, set afire, and then thrown at either a car or building or whatever the moving target might have been. The bottle would fly through the air like a fireball, and and then upon contact would explode like a bomb. The Molotov cocktail would be used in drive-bys, or more preferably thrown into shop windows if the store owners hadn't paid protection money to the mob. This draws our mini documentary to an end. Stay tuned for more in our informative mob series, and if you haven't had a chance yet, check out our Mafia quizzes. The link is now available on screen. You're now rocking with the best, NCS Costa Nostra.
Welcome to the Sting of Oz.
The search is over. Every series helps bring you a step closer to the life of the mob without dangerous exposure of what went down, plus mobster of the month. Original content if you're searching on a hunt for the who's who or the best dressed guy, the type of guns they use, the feuds and mob wives. We supply everything as soon as you log on to the National Crime Syndicate.com. From John Gotti to Dawn, back to Mustache P, Big Joe, Al Capone, and Maya Lansky. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, cause the code of silence here no longer applies. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned in, cause over here we like to keep this thing moving.